Ooh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Piston fires, a spark ignites, two-stroke heartbeat roars through the night.
Hello and welcome back to the garage. I've got an engine on the bench here that stopped on track. We thought at first it might have been an ignition problem, but it's got a good spark. There's nothing wrong with the ignition timing, so we know it's not ignition. We know it's not the carburettor because the carburettor was then used again on a next engine and it started up absolutely fine, ran absolutely fine. So what we've got here is a mechanical problem that stopped the engine running, but it's not a seize, so let's take a closer look. So what could possibly be wrong with this engine mechanically that would cause it to stop running but not be seized? There's two possible options we've got here. One is that it's lost compression. So we'll take the head off quickly, have a check of the piston ring, see what condition that's in. So now we've got the head off, let's have a little look inside the bore. So looking inside the bore, we can turn the engine over, not a problem. We can't see any scoring in the bore, that all looks okay. No obvious sign of any damage there. So now let's take the cylinder off and have a look at the piston. So if we look at the piston ring is still nice and free. The condition of the piston looks really good. There's no scoring. All of the Teflon looks in really good condition. Top of the piston looks really good. I don't think this has lost compression. So there's one more option that this could be. And that is in here. As we turn the engine over, we notice the rotary valve is not turning. In fact, it's completely closed. So that gives us a diagnosis of what has gone wrong. So let's take this rotary cover off and then we can have a look at the disc. So it's quite obvious this disc is broken. It's no longer rotating on the crankshaft. In fact, if we turn the crankshaft round, we can see the center hole in the disc has gone completely round and the drive hub just spins within it. We can also see that there's a chunk of the disc broken off and stuck at the side here. We can see that's missing from this area. So we're going to take this over to the bench. We need to find out if there's any damage from the disc having broken, and then we're going to need to fit a new disc. So let's take this over to the bench. So now we're over at the workbench. We know this valve is broken, so let's try and remove the valve, and then we can inspect to see if there's any further damage. So I've got the valve off. As you can clearly see, there's a piece of the valve that is missing. The center hole where it mounts on the hub is severely damaged and no longer is driven by the hub. There's a piece of the disc stuck here. Let's get that off. So there's a piece of the disc that broke off. We need to check the overall condition. And surprisingly, it doesn't look like it's done any further damage. And even looking at the rotary valve cover, there's no damage on this either. So actually, we've been really lucky here that although the disc has failed and it's stopped driving on track, it has not caused any severe damage to the engine. So we're going to need to fit a new disc. We're going to need to time the disc up. So let's look at that. Right, I have a new disc and we have the old disc. If we sit them over the top of each other, we can see they are not the same. The new disc has more material than the old disc. This is going to affect the rotary valve timing, so we're going to need to cut the new disc to the correct size. So to do this, we're going to initially just fit the disc. So we'll just move the piston up to near top dead center. We don't need to be completely accurate at this point. We're going to put the disc onto the drive hub. We're going to do this just to get an initial timing. If this was a clock, the time would be around 10 to 4. Now we're going to need to refit the cylinder to support the piston. We're going to need to find top dead center. We're going to have to put a timing wheel on and we can start marking. So now we've got the engine on a stand, we're going to need to fit the crankshaft degree wheel onto the ignition side of the engine. That will allow us to know what position the crankshaft is in so that we can set the timing on the disc. So now we've got the cylinder clamped down, we've got the degree wheel fitted, we need to find top dead center and then we need to mark where top dead center is relative to the 0 on the wheel. So let's do that. So now we've found top dead center, using a rule and a fine pen, we're going to mark in line with 0 on the degree wheel. We're going to mark that as TDC. So now we know where top dead center is, we need to turn the engine round and look at the rotary disc again. And now we need to refit the rotary cover because we're going to need to use this port to mark the timing. So we put this back on, we put the bolts in. We don't need to put all of the bolts in, but we need to put enough to secure the cover. Okay, so we've put some bolts in the cover. We've got this here. So I know what timing I want this disc to be. So I'm going to rotate the engine until the mark on the degree wheel at the back is showing the angle that I want. And then using a pen, I'm going to mark on the disc inside. That will give me a line that I can then mark once I take the disc back off to cut the disc to. So now I've put some initial marks on that. We're going to take the rotary cover back off and have a look at the disc. Rotate the engine. We're going to take the disc back off. We can see here we've left a pen mark. It's quite faint, so we're going to make that a stronger mark, and then we're going to cut off the section of disc that we do not want. Now I've got the disc cut, we're going to pop it back on. Again, just initially making sure that the conrod is at the top, so piston is at the top dead center. It's going to read approximately 10 to 4. And then we're going to put the rotary cover back on. So now we're going to rotate the engine round until the point where the valve is closing. We can check that by putting a 0.1 millimeter feeler gauge in the gap, only the very corner because it's a curved port. If you put the whole feeler gauge in, you'll have it open more than 0.1 millimeters. Just get that in the corner, get it to the point where it's just able to get the feeler gauge into there, and then we'll turn the engine round. We'll read the degree wheel, so yep, we're happy with that. Then we'll rotate the crankshaft until the point where the valve is just cracking open, again using the feeler gauge to check when that is. So we can see it's open there. Move it back to the point where it's almost closed, just with a feeler gauge able to get into a gap. We'll check that number. Yep, we're happy with that. So that's a new disc cut to size. As we rotate the engine round, we see it opening and closing. So before we do anything else, we're going to take this cover back off. We're going to put a little film of oil onto the disc, so that when it starts spinning at high speed, it's got lubrication immediately. And just to make sure we put the disc the correct way around when we go back on, I'm just gonna, with a Sharpie, write the word out for outside. So now when we rotate this, we can take the disc off. We know which side to put facing back outwards. So we're going to get a bit of oil. We're just going to put a few small blobs of oil onto this face. We're going to wipe those around with our finger just to put a film of oil over everything. Then we're going to put the disc back on again, making sure the conrod is going up and down and the piston is at top dead center. That way we know very easily what direction to put this disc on the drive hub. And again, we'll just put a couple of small blobs of oil on here that we will just spread around on the disc. Obviously, when the engine is in use, this disc is lubricated by the fuel going through the inlet. But we want an initial film of oil for when it starts. Then we'll put this rotary cover back on. We'll put our bolts back into the engine. Then we can reassemble the engine. So now that's all back together, we're happy with the timing of the valve. We can reassemble the rest of the engine, and then we're going to give it a pressure check just to make sure the gasket around this cover is sealing properly. So we're going to put the cylinder head back on, removing the bridge that we fitted to stop the cylinder moving, and so that we can find top dead center. So now we've got the engine back together, we're going to do a quick pressure test. We've already shown you a video on how to do that, so check that out using the link up the top here. Up to 10 psi. Leave it there for a moment.
A few moments later.
So that's still holding the same pressure, so we're happy with that. That engine is airtight. So we'll release the pressure, take all this off, and this engine is ready to go again. So now this engine is done. It's got the new rotary valve in, timed up, ready to go. We've given the engine a bit of a general look over and check over. It's all in really good condition. It's not done a huge amount of running since it was last rebuilt, since it last had a new piston. You saw the condition of the piston when we were generally looking over the engine at the beginning anyway, trying to find what the problem was. So this engine's ready to go. It's ready to go back to the owner and go on track and do some more racing. If you've enjoyed this video, why don't you check out some of our other two-stroke videos. We'll put a link to that up the top here. We've got a whole playlist full of videos. Why don't you go and check it out?